What if I told you that the way most men approach women today is leading them straight into heartbreak, confusion, and manipulation? And they don't even realize it. Imagine this. You're texting her. She's hot. The conversation seems perfect. You feel like you're building something real. And then, out of nowhere, she disappears. Or worse, she stays. Just enough to keep you hooked, while she drains your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. No one talks about this, but the modern dating world is a minefield. It's a place where your secrets become weapons, your kindness becomes weakness, and your desire for connection becomes the leash that ties you to the wrong woman. Here's the harsh reality. Modern dating isn't about finding the right woman. It's about avoiding the wrong traps. And most men have no idea these traps even exist. But there's good news. Smart men, men who live by Stoic principles, know how to avoid the games, the manipulation, and the silent punishments that leave others broken. And today, I'm going to show you how. Because your time, your energy, and your future are priceless. Stay wise, stay stoic. Let me ask you something. Have you ever done everything right with a woman and still watched her drift away? Or stared at your phone, waiting for a text that never comes? Or wondered why someone who seems so into you suddenly goes cold? Most men fall into patterns they don't even see. They open up too fast. They chase her validation. They ignore warning signs because they're afraid to lose her. And they think, if I'm nice enough, she'll stay. If I tell her everything, she'll feel closer. If I sacrifice a little more, she'll appreciate me. But here's the harsh truth. Being good doesn't mean giving up your backbone. No one respects a man who trades his time, his dreams, or his identity for someone else's approval. Some men turn silent, living a life of quiet battles. Smiling on the outside, dying inside. They become the guy who disappears from friends, family, and his own path, just to avoid being alone. Don't be that guy, because the cost of ignoring these traps isn't just heartbreak. It's the slow erosion of your confidence, your sanity, and your sense of who you are. The modern dating world is ruthless. Apps, social media, an endless flood of options. Women have more choices and more power than ever before. If you don't protect yourself, you'll drown in a game you were never taught to play. But there's hope. Smart men, men who live by Stoic principles, don't just attract better women. They avoid the traps that destroy other men from the inside out. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Because you deserve your dignity, your peace, and your purpose. Here's the truth Stoicism teaches us. You are the center of your universe. Not her, not your friends, not even your family. You. Because the minute you hand over your center to someone else, you become a man who's easily controlled, manipulated, and discarded. Stoicism is not about being cold or emotionless. It's about being grounded, calm, clear, and unshakable. It's about knowing who you are, what you stand for, and refusing to let anyone dim your fire. Your mental health is non-negotiable. Your peace is priceless. Protect it fiercely. Think about this. Every day, modern life tempts you to react. A woman leaves you on red, and you spiral. She posts a photo with another guy, and your mind races. One comment from her, and suddenly your mood collapses. That's not strength, that's slavery. Because if your emotions rise and fall based on her actions, she's in control of your life. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And in dating, this couldn't be truer. How many men destroy their peace worrying about texts, likes, or whether she's losing interest? Here's what Stoic men do differently. They live from the inside out, not the outside in. They guard their past. They stay true to themselves. They walk away without drama. They never pedestalize women because the right woman isn't looking for a man who worships her. She's looking for a man who knows who he is and who doesn't need her to complete him. In the modern world, Stoicism is your shield against manipulation, against drama, against losing yourself in the pursuit of love. It reminds you you are the star of your own narrative, not a side character in someone else's story. And when you stand strong in that truth, something incredible happens. You stop chasing, you start attracting. And that's why, next, I'm going to show you the 9 fatal traps smart men avoid with women, because knowledge is power, and your peace, your dignity, and your future are worth protecting. Let's talk about the first fatal trap smart men avoid: oversharing your past. This one destroys more good men than almost anything else, because the world keeps telling you, be vulnerable, share everything. That's how you build connection. But there's a line between being genuine and giving away your power. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're sitting across from a beautiful woman on your first date. The conversation is flowing. The energy feels electric. You start talking about your childhood, your exes, the messy breakup that shattered you last year, the mistakes you regret, and for a moment, it feels like you're bonding. But here's the problem. While you're trying to show your authentic side, you're also handing her a loaded gun. Stoicism teaches this truth. Your past is yours, not a tool for others to judge or manipulate you. When you share too much, too soon, you lose your mystery, and mystery is power. Worse, you're giving her ammunition she can use against you later. How many men have opened up about their financial troubles, only to have those words thrown back at them during a fight? How many shared details of a painful breakup, only to be compared to an ex when things go wrong? Or confess their deepest insecurities, and later felt those same wounds poked open in moments of conflict? Don't let that happen to you. A Stoic man understands this. Honesty doesn't mean full disclosure. You can be truthful without revealing every scar. You can share who you are without bleeding your history onto the table. Women respect a man who knows how to guard his story, because the man who shares everything too quickly feels desperate, and desperation kills attraction. Here's what smart men do instead. They stay present. They talk about passions, dreams, their vision for the future. They keep the conversation engaging, but they save the deeper chapters of their life for a woman who has earned it. And if a woman pushes you to share too much too soon, remember this: you owe her nothing but honesty in the moment. Guard your past. It's not shameful to keep your private life private. It's wise, because a man who holds his cards close commands respect, and the right woman will be intrigued, not turned off. Stay wise, stay stoic. Next, we'll talk about the second fatal trap, fearing being alone, and why it leads men into the worst relationships of their lives. Now let's talk about the second fatal trap, fearing being alone. This trap might be the most dangerous of all, because it hides behind your own good intentions. Let me ask you, have you ever stayed in a relationship you knew wasn't right, simply because the thought of being alone terrified you? Or convinced yourself, maybe this is as good as it gets, just so you wouldn't have to face empty nights and silent mornings? Most men are terrified of solitude. Society has drilled into us the lie that being single is a sign of failure, that if you're alone, something must be wrong with you. But here's the truth Stoicism teaches: loneliness weakens you, but solitude strengthens you. I remember a friend of mine, Chris. He was dating a woman who constantly belittled him, drained his energy, and made him question his worth. Yet he stayed. Why? Because the idea of being alone felt worse than the pain he was living through. And that's how men end up sacrificing their sanity for scraps of affection. A Stoic man knows that true strength comes from being comfortable in his own company. He knows that solitude isn't punishment, it's freedom. Freedom to think, to grow, to choose only relationships that add value to his life. Think about it. How many people stay in toxic relationships simply because they're terrified of the alternative? They'd rather suffer quietly than eat dinner alone, or travel solo, or sit in silence with their own thoughts. But the man who learns to stand alone becomes untouchable because he's no longer driven by desperation, and that energy, calm, solid, unbothered, is magnetic. Women sense it, they respect it, and they're drawn to it. Here's what smart men understand. A relationship is only worth it if it elevates your life, not if it becomes the cage that traps you. So ask yourself this brutal question. If this relationship ended tomorrow, would I be okay? If the answer is no, you're giving away too much of your power. Remember, you are the center of your universe. Your peace is priceless. Protect it fiercely. Don't fear solitude, embrace it. Because when you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop settling for less. Stay wise. Stay stoic. Next, we'll dive into the third fatal trap, the silent killer that steals your most valuable asset, your time. Let's move to the third fatal trap, wasting time on non-committal women. This is one of the most silent yet deadly traps modern men fall into, because it doesn't always look toxic at first. She seems sweet. She laughs at your jokes. She texts you back sometimes. But months go by and nothing moves forward. You're stuck in what I call the gray zone. You're not quite strangers, but you're definitely not together. And every time you think things might finally become official, she pulls back. Here's the harsh truth. A woman who wants you makes it clear. You won't have to decode her signals like some cryptic puzzle. But many men waste months, sometimes years, chasing women who keep them dangling. Why? Because they believe if I just try harder, she'll choose me. Maybe she's just busy. I don't want to lose her, even if she's not fully mine. I knew a guy named Daniel. He met a beautiful woman on a dating app. She was fun, witty, and stunning. But every time he tried to plan a real date, she'd cancel last minute or reply with one-word texts for days. Yet whenever he started pulling away, she'd reel him back in with just enough warmth to keep his hopes alive. And that's how men end up wasting time, energy, and even their self-respect, chasing shadows. Stoicism teaches this: protect your time like currency, because time is the one thing you can never earn back. A Stoic man sees the signs early. She's flaky. She gives mixed signals. She never defines the relationship. And instead of clinging on, he walks away. No anger, no drama, just quiet certainty. Remember, a woman who wants to be with you makes space for you in her life. She doesn't keep you waiting on the sidelines. And the more you chase a woman who won't commit, the less she respects you. Don't let breadcrumbs become your dinner. Protect your time. Protect your sanity. Because every minute you spend chasing the wrong woman is a minute stolen from your purpose, your peace, and the right woman who could truly appreciate you. Stay wise. Stay stoic. Next, we'll dive into the fourth fatal trap, the hidden craving for validation that leaves men powerless. Let's talk about the fourth fatal trap, seeking validation for your wins. This one's sneaky because it disguises itself as confidence, but it's actually the opposite. We live in a world obsessed with external applause. You land a new job, you hit a personal best at the gym, you buy a new car, and your first thought is, I need to show her. I need her to be proud of me. But here's the problem. When your wins require her validation, you're giving away your power. I remember a guy named Leo. He was brilliant, smart, ambitious. Every time he achieved something, he'd rush to share it with his girlfriend, craving her praise. At first, she seemed supportive, but over time, his constant need for recognition began to drain her. Instead of celebrating his victories, she started feeling pressured, like she owed him admiration. And the more he chased her validation, the less respect she had for him. Stoicism teaches us, celebrate your wins, but do it for you. Because the man who needs constant applause is a man who doubts himself. And a man who doubts himself is a man others begin to doubt too. Think about it. How many men post gym selfies? Not because they're proud, but because they're hoping someone, especially a woman, will tell them they're enough. Or share every career milestone online, counting likes as proof of their worth? Here's the Stoic truth. Your value doesn't increase because someone claps for you. It increases because you know what it took to earn those wins. A Stoic man lives for inner approval. He celebrates quietly. He takes pride in silent victories. And when he shares his success, it's not to seek validation, but to inspire. Remember, the right woman will admire your victories, but she'll admire them even more if you don't need her applause to feel valuable. Because the man who stands confident in his own worth is the man who commands respect. Don't seek validation. Radiate certainty. Stay wise, stay stoic. And next, we'll talk about the fifth fatal trap, sacrificing your mental health for the sake of love. Let's talk about the fifth fatal trap, sacrificing your mental health for the sake of love. This one hits closer to home than most men ever admit, because from the outside, everything can look perfect. Smiling photos, sweet captions, late-night texts filled with "I love you." But behind closed doors, there's tension, walking on eggshells, and emotional exhaustion. I knew a guy named Marcus. He dated a woman who was gorgeous, charismatic, and unpredictable. One moment, she'd shower him with affection. The next, she'd disappear for days, leaving him anxious and sleepless. Yet he stayed. Why? Because he kept telling himself, if I try harder, she'll come around. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm overreacting. And so he kept sacrificing himself piece by piece just to keep the relationship alive. Stoicism teaches this truth. Your mental health is non-negotiable. No woman, no matter how beautiful, is worth the price of your sanity. Think about this. Would you burn your house down just to keep someone else warm? That's what sacrificing your mental health looks like. You pour all your energy, your focus, your spirit into fixing a relationship that only seems to consume you. Until one day, there's nothing left of the man you once were. Here's the thing. A Stoic man knows when to fight for love and when to walk away. He understands that love should add peace to your life, not chaos. And if you're constantly stressed, anxious, or feeling worthless, that's not love. That's bondage. Don't let anyone guilt you into staying somewhere that destroys your spirit. Because the longer you stay, the deeper the damage becomes. Remember, a relationship is supposed to be a partnership, not a prison. Protect your peace fiercely. And if you have to choose between someone else's happiness and your mental health, choose yourself every time. Walk away without drama, stay wise, stay stoic. And next, we'll dive into the sixth fatal trap, losing yourself to please her, and why that's the fastest way to lose both her respect and your own. Now let's talk about the sixth fatal trap, losing yourself to please her. This one happens so quietly. Most men don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. At first, it looks innocent. You compromise on little things, where to eat, what movie to watch, what time to meet. But soon, miss, it becomes bigger. You stop seeing your friends because she complains. You skip the gym because she wants more time. You stop speaking up because you're scared of upsetting her. Before long, you're living someone else's life. I remember a guy named Ethan. He used to be vibrant, passionate about his career, obsessed with fitness, loved his hobbies. But when he started dating his girlfriend, everything shifted. She didn't like his friends, thought his job took too much time, rolled her eyes at his hobbies. So he started changing, piece by piece, just to keep her happy. Until one day he looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. That's what losing yourself looks like. Stoicism teaches this truth. Stay true to yourself, because the moment you abandon your own values, your own passions, just to keep someone else comfortable, you begin to disappear. Women might say they want a man who always agrees with them, but deep down they respect a man who stands firm in who he is, the man who says no when he means no, the man who has his own opinions and isn't afraid to express them, the man who doesn't mold himself to fit into someone else's expectations. Remember, a Stoic man doesn't live life trying to please everyone. He lives life as an authentic expression of who he is, and the right woman will respect him for it. Don't let love become the reason you lose yourself, because the man who abandons his essence loses both her respect and his own. Guard your identity, stay true, stay wise, stay stoic. And next, we'll explore the seventh fatal trap, abandoning your path for someone else, and why it costs more than you can imagine. Now let's dive into the seventh fatal trap, abandoning your path for someone else. This trap has destroyed more men than heartbreak ever could, because it doesn't feel like weakness when it happens. It feels like love. At first, it seems noble. You sacrifice a little time for her, a few dreams, a few goals. You tell yourself, this is what it means to be a good partner. But slowly, you drift further from the man you were meant to become. I knew a man named Victor. He was an entrepreneur, driven, passionate. He dreamed of launching his own business. But when he started dating his girlfriend, everything changed. She wanted him safe, stable, predictable. So he took a job he hated because it felt more secure. He stopped networking, stopped taking risks. And every time he thought about chasing his dream again, she'd remind him how reckless it was. Years passed, and Victor woke up one morning realizing he'd traded his vision for a relationship that no longer even made him happy. That's what abandoning your path looks like. Stoicism teaches this truth. Your path is sacred. It's the essence of who you are, the compass that guides your decisions. No woman, no matter how beautiful, should ever stand between you and your purpose. A Stoic man knows this. The right woman will support your mission, not try to rewrite it. She may challenge you, she may push you, but she will never ask you to shrink. And if she does, she's not the one. Remember, a man without a path becomes a man without respect, both from himself and from others. Don't sacrifice your dreams for comfort, because comfort fades, but regret lasts forever. Stay true to your calling, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Guard your mission fiercely, stay wise, stay stoic. And next, we'll talk about the eighth fatal trap, ditching friends and family, and why losing your tribe means losing yourself. Let's move into the eighth fatal trap, ditching friends and family for a relationship. This trap might feel like love in the beginning, because at first all you want to do is spend time with her. She's new, she's exciting, she makes you feel alive. And slowly, without even noticing, you start canceling plans. You skip the boys' night out. You miss your niece's birthday. You stop calling your parents as often. And at first, everyone understands. He's in love, they say. But months go by, and your world becomes smaller, until the only person left in your orbit is her. I knew a man named Alex. When he started dating his girlfriend, he disappeared. Friends would invite him out, but he'd decline. His family would call, but he'd let it go to voicemail. And when that relationship fell apart, he found himself alone. He had no one left to turn to. That's what happens when you ditch your tribe. Stoicism teaches this truth. You're not meant to be an island. Your friends, your family, your tribe, they're your roots. They remind you who you are. They keep you grounded when life tries to knock you off balance. And here's the paradox. A strong man can love deeply and still maintain his world outside the relationship. Women respect a man who has his own life, who doesn't make her his entire existence. Because the man who abandons his tribe becomes a man who's easy to control. And a man who's easy to control eventually loses respect, both from her and from himself. Remember, you're not a side character in someone else's movie. You're the star of your own narrative. And the people who've known you the longest are the ones who'll be there when storms come. Don't trade decades of loyalty for fleeting passion. Keep your friendships alive. Call your family. Protect your tribe. Because when the dust settles, they're often the ones who remind you who you truly are. Stay wise, stay stoic. And next, we'll dive into the 9th fatal trap, the ultimate trap that turns men into prisoners of their own obsession. Now let's talk about the 9th fatal trap, obsessive devotion. This is the ultimate trap because it doesn't look like a mistake at first. It looks like love. Obsessive devotion often begins as deep passion. You want to be with her every minute. You want to text her good morning, good night, and 100 times in between. You watch her social media like a hawk. You analyze every emoji, every pause in her texts, every slight change in her tone, and slowly, without realizing it, your entire world starts to revolve around her. I knew a man named Jordan. He was driven, focused, confident. But when he met his girlfriend, everything shifted. He stopped working late, stopped hitting the gym, stopped spending time with friends. He'd sit up at night, refreshing his phone, wondering why she hadn't replied. He'd send double texts, triple texts, growing more anxious each hour. And the more he obsessed, the more distant she became. That's the cruel irony. The more you orbit around her, the more she pulls away. Stoicism teaches this. Obsession is poison, because when you put a woman on a pedestal, you're no longer standing beside her. You're kneeling beneath her. And no woman respects a man who kneels. Think about it. Why do women gravitate towards men who seem calm, focused, and a little mysterious? Because those men radiate self-control. They're centered in themselves. They don't cling. They don't beg. They love, but they love from a place of strength, not desperation. Remember, a stoic man makes space for love, but he never lets love consume him. He knows he's the center of his own universe, and the right woman doesn't want to be worshipped. She wants a man who stands tall beside her, not beneath her. Don't let love become your prison. Keep your purpose, keep your balance, stay wise, stay stoic. And now, let's talk about how all these lessons come together and what it truly means to be the prize. You've just heard the 9 fatal traps smart men avoid with women. And if any part of this video hit home for you, remember this. You are the center of your universe, your peace, your purpose, your dignity. These are priceless. Never trade them for the illusion of love. Because the right woman will never ask you to abandon yourself. She won't want you kneeling. She'll want you standing beside her, strong and unshakable. And that's the Stoic way. To love, but never lose yourself. To give, but never at the cost of your sanity. To walk away when your soul is on the line. You're not a side character in someone else's story. You're the star of your own narrative. And every choice you make writes the next chapter. So let me ask you, which of these traps have you fallen into before? Or which one are you determined to avoid from this day forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. Because together, we're building a tribe of men who refuse to live life on their knees. Stay wise, stay stoic. And if you found value here, hit that subscribe button. Join the tribe. And remember, your story is yours to write. Let me leave you with this. Life will test you. Women will test you. The world will pull at you from every angle, demanding pieces of your time, your energy, your soul. But remember your life, your rules. You are not here to live as a shadow in someone else's light. You are the star of your own narrative. Guard your peace, guard your mission, and never forget, the right woman will never ask you to become less than who you are. She will want to stand beside a man who knows himself, who walks his path with silent confidence, who protects his boundaries with quiet strength. Stay wise, stay stoic. And as you step back into your world today, remember this truth. Never give away your power for approval, because your story is yours to write. Until next time.